Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London. This morning I'm looking at a new edition of a book I have reviewed over the last 10 years. It's an excellent book for anybody who wishes to consider or contemplate becoming a barrister at law. The book is called Bewigged and Bewildered. It's a guide to becoming a barrister in England and Wales, and it's now in its third edition. It was written originally by Adam Kramer, and he's now been joined by Ian Higgins to assist him in his writing. The book is published by Heart Publishing, which is of course owned by Bloomsbury. Now, I've given the title of our review, which Elizabeth and I have written, What Modern Barristers Do and How We Get There to Do the Job in 2016. The best and most realistic guide around, and that's exactly what it is. Let's have a look at the new guide first. It's a paperback, it's only a light small book. There's the front, there is the side, which you can see, the spine, and then the back. And there's in fact a quote from me about an early edition, and David Wazell and a few other people have given comments about the book itself. It's a light book, 200 pages. There's the index at the back, very straightforward page number index. Now at the front you've got a little bit of a statement there just explaining what the third edition is about. There's the main cover there, and then there's a forward to the first edition which Stephen Hockman, Queen's Counsel, gave when he was, I believe, probably chairman of the bar, or senior within the Bar Council. Then you've got the contents section, and quite a large number of contents running all the way through. You can see all of the questions really raised. Further information, of course, is given at the back. And then there's an introduction. Now there's a glossary of terms right at the back. And then there's an introduction to the third edition, which is written by the two authors. They give an introduction to the first edition as well, explaining what that was Adam Kramer's original edition, explaining what was the purpose initially of the book. And then from there, that was in autumn 2006, and in November 2015 they wrote the introduction to the new edition. And Ian Higgins, who's come to the assistance of Adam Kramer, comes to it because of his experience as a former solicitor who's transferred over. I'm just looking at the centre of the book. You can see there's chapter 6, Steps to Take During Your School Years. So this is very important for anybody who wishes to consider a career as a barrister at law. Obviously the competition is extremely high, and it's difficult to secure a pupillage, apart from the requirement, of course, to have a fairly substantial high academic achievement level. Let me just explain, though, about the book itself, because I do think this is the best on the market and the one that is the best advisor for any people looking to begin a career in this area. Let's face it, the Bar of England and Wales can welcome additional explanations of what we as barristers do and how we train and qualify. Of all the current books on the marketplace, Bewigged and Bewildered, in our view, remains the top choice for its clarity of expression and relevant detail for the budding barrister. That's our view, of course. But when you read it, you'll find it's easy to read, and it will answer probably just about all of the questions, main initial questions that you have. We've reviewed the book, of course, before, so we have what would be described as form or previous in supporting the way Adam Kramer and his new colleague Ian Higgins have reviewed the current parlour state of barrister recruitment in 2016, and things are serious, certainly for the young bar. And there it is, as always, during the whole of my career anyway, the regular dire warnings about what it is really like to be a practising barrister in the 21st century are set out. As it was, of course, in the last century when I was called. Things have really not changed as much as some would think. It's still very difficult, and I make no bones about that. It's not the easiest job in the world to do or to actually get into. And today it's probably just as hard or harder to get to practice and to continue to practice as what is effectively now a specialist advocate in the more complex legal setting that we have. I've found as a general common law practitioner that I could cover a very wide range of legal matters, but I've now had to specialise because it has become so very complex. And I think, again, you have to start off basically recognising you have to do some criminal law, and then you move on to the areas that you prefer to deal with yourself. In my case, I do a civil. I have a civil county court practice because the jurisdictions have changed and the way we do our business has changed with the internet and everything else. Now, the authors say that these are turbulent times for the bar, and how right they are. The times are turbulent now, as indeed they were in the 1960s and 70s when I first started on the road to the bar. The need to have access to independent means of support remains the same prerequisite for many today, and again, as I say, that's something that you must bear in mind. But sadly, it's actually more difficult today, I think, because of two factors. One is the lack of legal aid and the bad pay levels at the junior criminal bar, which have created a crisis for the young bar because you cannot achieve the sort of training and experience which most of us have enjoyed in the past without doing a certain amount of that work. Certainly if you're a common law practitioner, it's important, but the difficulty is the remuneration is very late in coming and it's very poor. And so one has to be quite clear about the costs of embarking on this sort of career. Now, Kramer and Higgins say that there are these many hurdles to overcome, although the rewards, quote, intellectual and lifestyle, quite apart from financial, are well worth it. Well, that's correct. And that is the key because it's all about perseverance. That's my opinion in any event. So don't be put off by any preconceptions which are centering around the type of people who become barristers or not, or sort of by not knowing the processes involved. It's not a clique, the way some people would suggest. Clearly the chambers are looking for outstanding people, but don't be put off. That's what I would say if you are quite clear that this is the work that you would like to do. The authors describe their excellent practical guide in the following way, saying that, quote, misunderstandings and jargon prevent many from seriously considering a career as a barrister in the belief that such a career is not for them or that they are not for it. Others know that they might want to become barristers, but not how to go about it, or just want to know more about this somewhat mysterious profession. And they give us some of the answers, of course. And I will say again that you will quite clearly find a niche if you are successful after call and pupillage. You will find a niche or create it for yourself at the bar. That's certainly what I did. And you will have, again as I did, a lot of difficulties along the way. So it's not easy. It's not an easy road. Now, the authors clearly but informally explain the traditions, terminology and institutions of the bar and what it is actually like to be a barrister. With this aim, several barristers practicing in different areas and specialisms and special fields describe in detail a typical week in their life, which is invaluable as a pen portrait of what we do. And in fact, I recorded a YouTube video about a day in the life of my own practice to give you an idea of what I do. Also, the authors give advice on how to be accepted into, how to fund and survive the various academic and other stages that precede qualification as a barrister. That includes work experience, bar school and pupillage, which of course is our name for the barrister's apprenticeship. The book goes on to explain how to transfer to the bar for the benefit of solicitors, overseas lawyers and those in a non-legal career. And again, that's important because, can I just make one other point, and that is if you have had a non-legal career before, you're going to come to the bar with other experiences, and that in fact could be of great benefit to you when it comes to having an interview for either pupillage or a tenancy. So do bear that in mind. Let me conclude by saying that the authors say that the third edition is fully updated to take account of the most recent changes to the bar, the training for it, and the processes of recruitment to it. And it is the most fundamental purchase, I believe, for any person wishing to practice as a modern barrister at law in the 21st century. Thank you to the authors, and as the authors themselves say, good luck. And you will need it, because it is actually a hard profession, but it's very rewarding at the same time. It's a paperback. Here it is again, very light book. There's the spine, and then there's some comments and about the contents and commentaries about the book from people like myself. This is the middle of the book, joining an inn. It sets out what the inns are all about. It's your own choice. There's no, in my view, no preference. I'm a member of Lincoln's Inn, but it sets out the various inns and what you have to do. And of course, things have changed a lot since I was called to the bar concerning things like dining. There's the index at the back, and you do have a useful glossary, because again, it may be for many people that some of these words are not words that you're necessarily very familiar with, and so you've got a useful piece of information set out here, and you've got further information about various television programs, which do tend to make barristers look slightly different than what we really are, and then you've got bibliography and so forth. It's a lovely book, a third edition now. I'm very grateful to the authors for it, and as I said and they've said, good luck to you if this is your chosen career. You have to be very strongly motivated to do it, but if you're watching this video and reading the book, you are. Good luck. Bye-bye.